My girlfriend just said, oh my God, we don't have an apple peeler. And I said, babe, I'm Persian. I am an apple peeler.
You may have seen Zoya Biglary while scrolling TikTok. She's the fruit peeler. However, Zoya is way more than a produce aficionado. Daughter of Iranian immigrants,
I think any first-generation kid knows this feeling where it's like your parents worked really hard, and then you grow up and what do? You disappoint them if you're queer.
successful businesswoman and entrepreneur, and proudly out, which can be rare in the Persian community.
No one in my elementary school, no one in my middle school, and no one in my high school was outwardly gay.
But Zoya found a way to thrive in both her career and with her girlfriend, Alix.
It's either gonna come out or it's not.
Okay.
Same with some
It's
people,
gonna be
I guess.
delicious.
Life revolves around good food and drink, a very cute dog, and establishing their dream life in the hills of Los Angeles.
So would you feel comfortable? This is just going in the background.
I'm Matthew Rodrigues, reminding you it's okay to ask questions. We're celebrating pioneers in the queer community in hopes of opening minds and hearts through thoughtful conversations. So I'm gonna ask some questions.
Do you guys talk about marriage? Is that something important to
We
you?
do. It's Alex's favorite topic, actually.
I don't know why we bought the house before the marriage, but you know.
To better understand each other, let's talk and listen. Maybe then we'll realize we're a lot more alike than different.
Okay. Zoya, thanks for inviting me to this beautiful home.
Welcome to my house.
I love it. So I love coming back to LA, and one of my favorite memories here are my Persian friends. I was, struggling little host trying to make it, and everyone was in the entertainment world. But when I had that sense of family and real, genuine friends, it was always with my Persian friends.
We're pretty hospitable people.
It's pretty incredible. Where do you think that comes from?
It's hammered into you from the time you're a child.
Is
it's
it?
like you see your grandparents hosting, your parents hosting, your aunts and uncles. It's a very close-knit family. And it's like you can always bring people in.
Right.
They like to make people feel very included, which is funny because in some ways they don't, but as a
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
as a concept though, it's always bring everyone in. Bring your
Right.
friends in, bring your your boyfriends, your girlfriends, bring everyone in.
So did you see much diversity in the area that you grew up?
Not really.
Outside of being Persian?
Not really. I mean, even though there was a large community of Persians, I was still one of the only Persian kids in my school growing up. There was one or two if I'm looking back, but for the most part, in Orange County in the 90s, most of my friends were either white or Mexican.
Okay.
And a couple of Asians sprinkled in.
Yeah.
So there weren't many Middle Eastern kids that I noticed. Then in more bad timing, when I was 11 years old, September 11th happened. So then it was my country, where my parents are from, is actually directly in between Iraq and Afghanistan. So it wasn't a very popular place to be from.
No. Did
So-
you feel the shift in the
Oh,
way
yeah.
people treated you?
Oh, yeah. It was
the
very-
judgment. I mean, it was a very scary time for a lot of people
Yeah.
from the Middle East here in America.
Yeah, and it was really sad because everyone was scared, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But it was such an unfortunate time to be a Middle Eastern kid.
So when you were younger, did you have feelings towards girls? Were you dating boys? When did that all start to bubble up for you, the feelings of connecting with women?
Interestingly, I didn't really think that I was gay until I was later in my teenage years.
Okay.
As I, hit puberty, I would of course have some sort of crush on boys. I could objectively look at the guy and be like, oh, well, Tommy is cute. I'll have a crush on him. And all of your friends have crushes on boys. So that was very normal, I think, in the sense. It wasn't until I was in high school where I was just wow, my girlfriends really get upset when their guys don't pay them attention. Whereas
you secretly like it.
I don't care. I couldn't care less. I could not care less if, Tommy texts me or whatever happens. If I did get attention from guys, it would just make me happy because I just felt included, So I just want to feel oh, cool, I'm getting attention too. But then in my senior year of high school was the first time that I actually explored that side. And honestly, the first time I'd even come across a girl that had identified as bi.
Oh.
No one in my elementary school, no one in my middle school, and no one in my high school was outwardly gay.
And I would imagine no one in your adult life. Did you have an aunt? Did you have that one aunt or uncle or no one?
No, and I'm Persian. I have a lot of aunts and uncles. I have a lot of cousins. And at that time, you know, there was nobody for me to look for. And it's kind of odd looking back because, you know, this was the 2000s where I was like really, you know, growing up, and like, it wasn't like a million years ago, and it wasn't in the middle of nowhere. It was Orange County, California. And my high school was huge. My graduating class was 500 people. There's 2,000 kids in the high school.
I also think people think like California, you're in California, it's so liberal. It's not, Orange County is not.
It's not.
It's quite the opposite. Well, not quite, but there's a big patches of conservative people.
Yeah.
So that there's that energy going around.
There's that energy, and if there's not a single person around you to look towards, and honestly, at that time, people were still making fun of gay people. You know, calling something gay was still very much ethnic. You know, and so by the time I kind of came to my senior year of high school, I was like, I have to hide this.
Who was this girl?
She was this girl that I had met who was a year older than me.
Okay.
And we were at some party, and someone was like, oh, like, you know, this girl is bi. And I was like, bi? And I was like, interesting. And then we like met, and then she very quickly kind of was like interested in me, and she knew before I knew that I was interested in girls, and she must have picked up on the vibe. But then we wound up just like secretly seeing each other for like months, which was immediately the very first experience I had as a queer person was negative. You know what I mean? Not because of her, but just hiding something.
Hiding. Did you tell anyone?
No, not until my basically graduation is when I told a couple of my close friends. But even then, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gay. It was like, hey, FYI, I kind of did this thing. I like was hooking up with this girl for a bit. And they were just really cool about it. But everyone was still kind of confused.
Were you actively trying to present in a way that seems straight to your parents? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because once that unlocks, then now you're aware of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, don't be so, whatever, you know, I'd be like, don't be so dainty in front of my parents. And there's that trying to just hold it in.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah. You know, I wound up being like much more feminine than I am right now, especially at family parties, which if you ever went to with your friends, these huge, like our family parties are not just
it's like a wedding.
Yeah, it's a wedding. Literally, it's like, oh, we're just having our friends over tonight. It's like 75 people.
Yeah.
It's like a 12-course meal, very normal, very standard.
And
like
one grandma's in the kitchen cooking it for everybody.
And she's not even tired, you know? So like, it's not just like, oh, Uncle Tony's coming over with his one kid. No, it's like this crazy thing. And we would go to these parties so often. Orange County has a huge Persian population. They're all so lovely, and it's like this very warm community. But I would go into these situations and be like, I need to be hyper feminine. I need to be hyper aware to not have anyone catch on.
Give me your best hyper feminine.
I can't even do it right now.
I can.
Yeah, you give me hyper feminine. You'll pull it off way better than I will.
When did the cracks start to show where you couldn't contain it anymore? And was there another woman in your life that came in and you were able to explore from the time that you were in high school with that other woman?
After her, there was many women.
There were, okay. So you were really doing both sides.
I was, you know, it's R&D just to make sure that I was gay. You know, so I want to make sure I tried it plenty of times to be very, very sure, and that is why. Alix is listening, is she? Okay. Yeah. So that is why. You know,
Alix, shut the door.
That is why I just had to explore. And no, you know, there was girls for a few years. It wasn't until my early 20s when I finally just stopped experimenting at all with men. At that point, I was like, I'm only interested in women.
Are you actively lying to your parents?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you're like a Persian mother is
comes up, yeah.
Where's the boy? Who are you dating? Those kind of questions. Are you deflecting? What are you doing?
Kind of deflecting.
Yeah.
People would ask. Luckily or unluckily, my family and I, like, I never like brought boyfriends over when I was younger. Like, that's not really our culture. So, it wasn't
our family was like that too.
Yeah.
So it didn't come up. It wasn't like a big thing to bring someone home.
It wasn't like, why are you suddenly not bringing someone over? I just never brought anybody home. So it was never weird that I didn't bring anybody home. But it was really starting to hit a point. I was like, I think I was 27. And I remember at one point just being like, looking in the mirror and being like, you can't even tell your family, you know? So at some point it starts to mess with your head.
Right. Wasn't it a plane ride?
Yeah.
That really?
It was a plane ride.
Shook you up?
Yeah,
Pun intended?
He really shook me up. I was coming back from a work trip from Peru, And we were almost home, and as we were descending, something happened with like a wing flap of the plane or something. And
just that.
There's probably like some correct term, but
Yeah.
the plane kind of dipped and really like you knew something was wrong. And the pilot jumped on, was like, there's an issue, blah, blah. And it got quickly resolved within like a minute or two, but there was a few seconds where the plane dipped and I was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die, and I cannot believe that I never told my family.
That's what came through your head?
Yeah, that was the first
of
thing.
Of all the things?
Yeah. The very first thing is I
Wow.
can't believe I'm going to die without my family.
So that was for you bubbling right at the surface.
It was bubbling, yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt so like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I felt so ashamed to like not be able to be open, which is funny because then as soon as I came out, I felt ashamed again in a very different way. So I go home to my parents' house like a few days later, and the universe plays like funny, weird tricks on you. And that day I went home, I was on my laptop, and my mom, who doesn't ask this, all of a sudden just goes, so Zoya, what kind of guys are you into? And I wasn't looking at her.
Stop.
Our backs were actually, she was watching TV and I was on my laptop. And I was just like, this is the moment. This is the exact moment. And I just said, I like blacked out basically, but I just said, you know, actually I don't like guys. I like girls. And she goes, really? And I was like, yes. And then we start to talk about it. And she was so kind in the initial response. She was very gentle. She was just very confused and wanted to know a lot of stuff.
Were you shocked that she was even that calm?
Yeah, but I think what I would find out was that she was in shock. So that's why the response was so, you know, chill. I am lucky though that neither of my parents, upon finding out, I didn't get like, it was never like, we hate you, we want to disown you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was met with love, but unfortunately also a lot of fear and a lot of confusion and a lot of just serious, serious concern. So I talked to my mom and I went back to my place in LA, and by the time I had gotten home, she called me and she was then at that point really upset. Oh. And she was just so scared of what people would think. And I said, you know, we can do this however you want and we can keep it secret for as long as you want. I just need you to know, because I can't continue lying and saying there's some boyfriend. There's not, you know, and there won't be. And then, you know, it turned into me telling my father, who then also was very confused. And he is also the most gentle, loving person. They both are. Who also, his first words were, I love you no matter what. You're my kid, but your life's going to be so hard. But, you know, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that? And it's not their fault that that was their first reaction, because what else would it be?
Well, I mean, when you think they came from a country where gay can be punishable by death.
Yeah.
I'm correct, right? Like it is, people are not open, though there is a gay culture in Iran.
Of course.
I know that people also have surgeries, gender reassignment surgeries.
Yeah, I think it's the #1 country in the world in terms of like statistics for gender reassignment surgery.
And they're doing that because they want to hide.
Yeah, I guess
they can't fix being gay, so they'll change their body to align with what matches who they're interested in. Which is, I mean, if you are trans, then that really works out in your favor. But if you're not, then you're just it's really. As a gay
wild.
man, I don't want to be a woman. I have no desire to be a woman.
Yeah, you would be very pretty, but you know,
I mean,
but you know, like it's really crazy. Yeah, and people are forced to live really bizarre lives there.
Mm-hmm. That's instilled in your parents. Yeah. So that's some of where the fear comes from and the misconceptions come from. Where did you turn during that time when you're like, okay, I'm out, I'm not really out?
I didn't have anyone to really go to, and my parents were so nervous about getting out for about a year or so. It took them some time, and honestly, I feel oddly, as bad as I felt for myself, I felt so bad for my parents.
There's this thing that I call the second coming out, where I came out to my parents and didn't go well, but always felt loved.
Yes.
So had that. But then there's the second coming out where you've told everybody, you tell your parents, and then they just act like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what
And then you have to go back to them and have another conversation.
Yeah.
Did you have that conversation?
Yeah, basically, in that time, we just didn't talk about it. and I lived my life, and I had a couple of girlfriends that my parents just never talked about. I never brought anybody home. I think it was after COVID that basically, or during COVID, that my parents just really started to be like, listen, we just like want to be more in your life. Yeah. And we want to know what's going on. So by the time I started dating Alix 3 years ago, my mom like caught wind that I was dating someone, and she's like, are you dating someone? I said, yes. She said, okay, well, I want to meet her.
Okay.
Too much saffron, now I can't get you a wedding ring.
Are you kidding me? It's my engagement ring. My half, potatoes.
You're crossing into my house. Oh, this is like how we share the bed.
It wasn't until 3 years ago when I met Alix, my girlfriend, who's a content creator, that we even started to be in each other's videos, and like I started to even make videos. I still wasn't like super gay online before that. I wasn't hiding at that point, but I wasn't necessarily posting things about like, hey, I'm gay, you know? And it was really being with her that kind of pushed me in the limelight a little bit. And then people started DMing her before I even made any content, being like, oh my God, your girlfriend's Persian, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then I would make little cameos, and I'd start getting so many DMs. I didn't have a following yet. Yeah. So many DMs of just...
Because she had a big following.
She had a big following. Yeah. And so people would start to know this. And then my following started to grow. And the first video that ever went viral, I'm talking about my girlfriend, and as I'm peeling an apple.
My girlfriend just said, oh my God, we don't have an apple peeler. And I said, babe, I'm Persian. I am an apple peeler.
But isn't that perfect?
It's
like
perfect.
You're peeling back the layers of the apple, but you're exposing yourself.
Who knew how symbolic that apple would be?
I know. It's like, it's so perfect.
It's so
But
perfect.
did you think about that before?
No.
Or you just...
No, truly, we were making a Thanksgiving dinner for our friends, and she said, I don't have an apple peeler. And I was like so upset. I look like crap in the video. I'm like cooking, and I was like, oh my God, apple peeler. I am an apple peeler. And I like just happened to put my phone up and peel this apple. But because there are still to this day so many few out gay Persian content creators, I started getting this influx of messages from not just Persian, but just Middle Eastern queer people all over the world who were just like, oh my God, you are one of the first people we've ever seen who kind of looks like us, kind of sounds like us, and is outwardly just talking about being gay and showing this really pleasant life with her girlfriend. Oh my God, please keep making content. Please, we love watching. We're living vicariously through you. I'm not out. I don't know if I'll ever come out. I'm from this country. You don't understand how happy your content makes me. So I was put in this position where I was like, truthfully, I'm still kind of uncomfortable making videos, but that's okay. I will make myself uncomfortable to hopefully make other people comfortable. Because shortly after, then I started getting the messages of, I came out to my family because of you. I did this because of you. And then I don't know these people. There are people from all over the country, all over the world. And that was really special. And a lot of them were so thankful. And so then I just continued making it.
Before meeting me, Zoya was lost, lonely, and confused.
No, I wasn't.
When we met, food became our very own love language.
Alix, it's so nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Welcome to our home.
I've fallen in love with both of you
Aww,
via
why?
social media. Why? You know why? Because you're good. But I was saying this is right. When I walked in, I felt like the love. I felt like I was walking right in the middle of such positivity.
Oh, that's so nice.
That comes from Alix.
Yeah. It does, but I have more than enough to share. So
Yes. Have you always been a ball of sunshine?
Pretty much, yeah. They used to call me the blonde blur because I would just be like bouncing around everywhere. I have a lot of energy.
Did you have that same kind of energy when you were realizing you weren't necessarily always attracted to guys?
Yeah, well, it took me a while. I was a little bit late in life.
Yeah. How old were you?
28.
Okay.
And it was, in COVID, I actually had kind of taken a step back from the craziness of my life, I would say. A year before COVID, I really did a lot of internal work, slowed things down. And in that, I started, realizing things about myself, took the time to journal.
There's been a theme this season where it's like when you're in the silence and a little quiet,
all
loud. The things start, things get loud.
Things get loud in the silence. When I finally shut up, things get loud.
So the moral is don't be too quiet because you'll become gay.
It could be true.
Yeah, you might just turn you gay.
When did you know that this was going to work?
I'll let you know as soon as
We're at TBD.
I think when we bought the house, I said we should probably be pretty sure.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
there's some stakes in the game.
But it's beautiful that you've brought it together. And you know that food has become such a part of your connection. Was that always the case?
It's really funny because Alix was doing these videos. Remember on Facebook, the main BuzzFeed Tasty videos where like they were all viral, where it's like the top down, you saw like the camera and like the hands making the food. I would watch those in bed, sometimes with ex-girlfriends. I loved watching cooking videos.
I was there, guys. I was there.
You were in bed?
I was always watching.
I would find out later that those were Alix's hands making all those food videos. So it was just like funny where it was like when we met and I was like, oh, you make those videos. I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch those. Yeah. And it's like this funny thing where we just both love food so much. It's like the biggest part of our lives. Yes. And she very quickly jumped into Persian food, Persian culture, and has become our little blonde Persian girl.
I want to eat something.
Yeah, well, I prepared a little treat for you.
Okay, what did you prepare?
I thought some saffron rice. You deserve some saffron rice.
Tadig.
Coming all the way here, some crispy rice known as tadig.
Yeah.
Well, I hear a lot of talking and not a lot.
Okay, so she has this little labna dill situation. I want you add a bit more dill, my love, and then I will flip the tadig.
Never enough dill.
Never enough dill.
Never enough dill.
Do you want to add some? You can add some.
And let me add some.
Yeah.
You don't come here without amazing. The thing about tadig is it's a little bit of a risky food to make because you never know how it's going to turn out.
But you just believe.
You believe.
But you know the other saying is that if you flip a tadig and it's crispy and golden, you're ready for marriage.
Yeah.
Is that the decision that's about to be made right now?
I didn't know that was what was happening, but I guess that's what we're doing now.
I'm curious.
Was that a proposal? Did I just witness a proposal?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Where's
No,
the
it's
ring?
just to see. I'm waiting.
You just want. Okay, let's do a countdown.
Let's see if you're getting married.
3,
2, 1. Hey! Oh, it came right out. What's the color? The color's the way to. Ooh! That looks
pretty
good.
nice. That's pretty nice.
I guess you're getting married? Do you talk about marriage? Do you guys talk about marriage? Is that something important to you?
We do.
It's Alex's favorite topic, actually.
I don't know why we bought the house before the marriage, but you know, it's okay. We like to do things a little unconventional.
Well, I mean, we're gay already, so it's all unconventional.
We jumped right in. My thing with weddings is that they really do feel very heteronormative, like the way that they're set up. So I've kind of struggled with what a wedding would look like. And I'm sure I'm not the only queer person that has that.
I feel the same. We haven't done a big ceremony because of that.
Even down to like what you would wear sometimes.
Yeah, even down to that, because like I wouldn't want to wear a suit, you know, but I also definitely wouldn't wear a dress. So like there's a lot to unpack there, where straight couples don't have to think of that as much. So it's kind of different. It's not just like, oh, let's get married, exciting. It's like, ooh, it kind of doesn't feel the way that I think it feels for everybody else.
You gotta let it sit. You gotta let it sit and know where you both are for it.
I can't wait to wear that. I can't wait to wear
it tomorrow. She's doing it tomorrow.
She's ready.
She'll wear the groom's outfit and the wedding dress.
I'll have the dog.
Okay, I want to try it.
Let's cut it like a wedding cake.
A wedding cake. Okay.
And feed each other. Are we married now? Is that all it takes?
Well,
This was our wedding. I'm in a dress.
I'm an officiant. So
oh my God.
Legally in the state of California, I can marry you too.
Just say a few words and we're good.
Oh, that looks beautiful. So it's really just white rice and saffron?
Yeah, it's just basmati rice and saffron here. There's a little chunk for you right there.
Okay.
Here's grab it.
Babe, let's feed each other.
Yes, do it. Do it. Do it for the wedding.
You get a little frosting?
Do the wrap.
Yeah, here's a little bit of frosting.
Get frosting.
How are you going to do
Wait.
this? We feed
each
other.
I know.
See, we're not ready to get married, obviously.
Yeah.
We need to wait.
Do it.
Cheers.
There we go. It's
I
official. It's official.
Okay.
I can't help but think it's so interesting that you identify as Persian, and you touched upon this at the beginning of the conversation. It brings you all this richness. Mm-hmm. Your connection to your culture is strong, but then it was the thing that gave you so much anxiety. Mm-hmm. And those two dualities, those two things can be true.
Yeah.
How do you look at it now?
Now it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Things have really started to turn. But at that time, it was like I was and still am so insanely proud to be Persian. But it's odd because how can you be so proud to be a Persian woman, but so ashamed to be a gay Persian woman? You know, it's like just because of an orientation, I'm no longer proud. But now it's really merged, and the Persian community has been so kind to me, and really more than I've ever expected. So many of my aunts and uncles, now everyone knows, so many of my aunts and uncles really surprised me. So many of my mom's friends, my dad's friends have really surprised me in their support, the whole community. I've been invited to speak at a few like Persian events, and people that I meet are so cool. And really, I think at this point, it's like give people a chance. They might surprise you. Not everyone is always going to be stoked, but I think not everyone will like you regardless. But I've been surprised, and it's so important for me to continue doing this so that other kids who might be in the same boat as me, if they relate to me in some way, I just want them to feel like, hey, I can probably have my dream life too.
I feel like when I was struggling with the who I am and what I am, I was certainly overachieving in the other categories of my life. Did you feel that drive? Because you're quite accomplished in your career.
I did. I really want to impress my parents before I even came out to them.
That's how you do it.
That's how you
You're
do
like,
it.
don't look over here, but look over here.
I went a bit of an untraditional route. If you're Persian, you're supposed to either be a doctor or a lawyer or both. I went the startup route. I loved business. I loved startups. So, I was in social enterprise, and even in my early 20s, mid 20s, I was helping run a large company that was doing stuff globally and helping kids hear for the first time, and just doing so many things that made people say, oh my God, that is so cool. What you're doing is so amazing. And I'd be like, yeah, look at the shiny thing. So working my butt off. I was exhausted all the time. And just doing so much, just be like a really great daughter, and like driving down to Orange County every Sunday to be with my family and still do family things, all while kind of, hiding stuff still. I think it's funny because content is just what content is. I think that at this point, a lot of people recognize me from just being like a gay Persian content creator, or the fruit peeler, or like this food person. But like I have a whole nother life. I have a company. I have, I've created a new category of like plant-based seafood, and I
Which I didn't know was a thing.
It's a
thing. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's plant-based everything.
Yeah.
So where did that interest come from?
I'm selfish, and I don't like plant.
You're shellfish?
I'm shellfish. I'm selfish, and I don't like raw fish. So I created something for people like me who just don't like raw fish. So it's a startup that we create raw fish out of plants and sea algae and fermentation, and it mimics real seafood. So it's this very like different world that I'm in, where I like run this company that's doing really cool things. So I will touch on that sometimes in content, but still the internet sees you for what they want to see you as. So
you're like, peel the fruit and kiss your girlfriend.
Peel the fruit and be a gay Persian.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? If that's what makes you guys happy,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It is weird, that duality where like
It
people, they can't picture you some other way.
Yeah, for me, luckily, I've been riding duality my entire life. So if there's one thing I can do really well, is be different people at different times. So I can do it.
At least this duality pays.
Thank God. Not just in trauma.
It's a real nice table, y'all. It's real. It's real. Oh my God. I never.
Are you fooled?
I'm fooled. Never would I think that wasn't real fish.
Yeah.
Was
Maybe
the
it is.
visual just as hard as the taste?
It took quite a bit of R&D.
Well, I love how you said it helps people feel more, and it creates more of an inclusive environment for someone who comes and is like, I don't want fish, but I want to go have sushi with you.
Yeah, I want to feel like there's something made for me, not just like a simple veggie roll or avocado roll.
Can we try it?
I think you should try it.
Don't mess up the chopstick.
No, I know.
Don't
No
mess
pressure.
up.
No
There you go.
pressure. No pressure. Are we gonna do it at the same time?
Yes.
I think let's do a little cheers.
Okay.
Guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salamati.
Cheers. Salamati. I am so beyond impressed.
You got it now? You got it.
I'm telling you, I would never know the difference.
Yeah.